What's up, gamers? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Monday motivational video, because apparently I've decided I'm doing this weekly. At least for now. Why not? Get some stuff on the channel. But, and today I wanted to talk to you about dreams, and goals, and ambitions. So, a lot of times in the creator space, we are expected to be a bit more humble with our goals. There's a lot of, especially for smaller creators, there is a very high amount of like, oh, you shouldn't aspire for more. There's certain goals that you shouldn't be expecting or trying to go for. And it even shows up. This kind of ties into what I said last week, so catch that video if you didn't. Where a lot of times, like in the advice videos they give you for content creation, they will say, "Oh yeah, don't do this if you just want high numbers, attention, whatever." And that kind of sucks. I went over last time why I think it sucks as advice, so I'm not going to go through it all over again. But the TLDR is it really does just kind of set a bad idea in people's heads that if they want their stuff to be seen, that's inherently bad. And that sucks as someone who is making things and posting them publicly so that people see them. It sucks to basically be told at every turn, hey, yeah, you shouldn't actually want people to see your stuff. Like, what, you want 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers to see your stuff so you can monetize? Bleh. How pretentious do you gotta be? Things like that. And I feel like a lot of times even if we don't do it to others, like even if that advice wasn't being said, creators themselves do it a lot, like to themselves, where a lot of creators will actively not hope for better. And you can see it in their videos where it's like, even when they just talk about being burnt out or something, they'll sit there and be like, I know I should be grateful. I know I should be just thankful for what I have. I can't, I never expected to get this far. I never wanted any of this, but you guys have been so grateful to me. And don't get me wrong, I do think they're genuine in that. I don't, they obviously didn't expect to get there and things like that, because you can't expect to get to certain places as a content creator, because some of it's based on luck. But, but, I think that mentality has kind of breeded an idea in a lot of content creators where they think that it's not okay to want more. And a lot of times we see that in our real life too, where it doesn't just apply to the creator space, where maybe you want, if you're just an artist, let's say that I don't even know, maybe you want to be shown in a gallery someday. And humanity in general is kind of programmed to shut that idea down as like, oh no, that's rare. Don't even think about it. That's a 1 in a million chance to kind of dream. Or even things like, trying to be an actor, things like that. In life, a lot of us, I know I certainly did at least, grew up with people in our lives who tried to tell us to not aspire to big things. And to a certain degree, it makes sense. Because some of it is just trying to protect you, in a sense, where it's wanting to protect you from the shame and depression that comes with not achieving what you set out to do. It's to try and protect you from the idea, from trying to get in over your head and things like that, and take on pressure that you might not really be able to handle. But I feel like somewhere along the way, especially in our own heads, when we hear that, and we hear everyone around us saying that and repeating that kind of stuff, it really does just kind of tear into what you come to expect and want for yourself. And ultimately, I just think that sucks. And, like, it's to the point where, in order to even say you want something, or to say that you want to be a successful creator, you almost have to have a rebellious F it all attitude where you're like, I don't care who hears me. I want this. Or, I want to be able to do this in my life. And that's just not right. And it's even stranger when you consider that we have examples of the counter in a lot of media. Of course, the most popular are some of the ones I use for the thumbnail. There is, of course, Ash. Okay, I'm actually going to restructure this part. And ultimately, it does make sense to a degree to keep things managed expectations. Like, you're not gonna get 1 million subscribers in a night. Things like that. But, and I want to put that really big but there, it doesn't mean you can't dream big, and it doesn't mean you can't hope. Because a lot of times, it's those big dreams and aspirations that pushes us to do our best and to be our best selves regardless of the outcome. And so, yeah, we need to be more delusional as people. And that's why a lot of us tend to give up or give in to things like depression, is because it does kind of start to feel hopeless when when you're told that every dream and every hope you had isn't worth pursuing because it's 1 in a million whatever odds. It makes you give up on everything. And so if you have a dream, you should be pursuing it. It doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't matter how delusional or, I guess, selfish, because some people would probably say it's selfish. But, it doesn't matter how selfish it may seem to others or to you. If it's your goal and that's your dream, then you gotta follow it to a degree. Obviously, there's some exceptions here. Like, obviously, there's a certain bound to, like, things that are morally okay and not okay. But ultimately, if you have a dream to do something, you should follow it. Even if that, and yeah, sometimes those dreams are simple. Sometimes you really dream of, there are people out there who just really dream of being able to be recognized for being a good cleaner, for example. But there are also other people like myself, and I imagine a good amount of creators, or at least the type of people who want to be creators, who see more for themselves and want more for themselves, but are afraid of it becoming public to a degree. And so, and when you look at it, and so dreams and dreams in and of themselves are a motivation to do something. A lot of us, like I said, a lot of us small creators use those dreams as fuel to keep going throughout our lives. You can push through an awful lot of BS if you know you're working toward a dream. And you don't even need to take my word for it, because there are plenty of examples in media. Of course, because I'm a VTuber, I'm going to use anime as proper examples, but there are tons of examples. Like, literally, basically look at any show, any show that actually has an overarching narrative, and you can find some sort of delusional dream in there somewhere. And some of these stories are true. There are people in history who had big dreams and managed to achieve them. For example, in the good old US of A, as they say, the whole country started because the people had delusional dreams of overthrowing Britain and wanting freedom. And now, today, we, okay, yeah, you know, we don't talk about America today. But the point is, I had a delusional dream, and even though there was a very small risk of not risk, a very small chance of success, a very high risk of it happening, they eventually were still able to do it, and they were able to go through a lot to do it. Like, there were a lot of times and a lot of moments throughout the history where there were gruesome battles, times where their friends and family died or were effectively sacrificed to the British government purely to try and pursue this goal. And ultimately they succeeded because they never stopped believing in that dream and they never stopped trying to pursue that dream. And so, and some examples in anime now, because of course I'm a VTuber, I gotta talk about anime, is of course one of the most famous examples, in my opinion, is of course Naruto Uzumaki from the series Naruto. And his whole grand speech of how he's gonna be a Hokage one day. Literally the top most powerful ninja that at least we knew of at the time. And yet, he wasn't afraid to say it, and it was purely in pursuit of that dream that he was able to conquer all sorts of threats, and, you know, a little bit of Chosen One magic, but, you know, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the fox. But, and then to go even further, there's Goku, who, yes, has a little bit of help, a little bit of main character energy, in the fact that he just is a Saiyan, and Saiyans are effectively just the most OP race in media. But especially when he was younger, in the original series Dragon Ball, he had to work for a lot. He had to work and he had to go through a lot. For a small child, he was held at gunpoint multiple times, had to take on an entire army, and all while trying to become the world's strongest, and he was kicked down at a good amount of turns. There are very, very few battles that Goku actually wins in original Dragon Ball. And even in Dragon Ball Z, while he does start winning more on his own, he's still outmatched at every turn. So he's still not as strong as he could be. And then, of course, you get into Super, where, you know, power scaling basically goes out the window. And even then, you see Goku having to come to terms with the fact that there is a chance that he couldn't be the strongest person in the world through his own work. And he has to deal with that and push through that and find a way to still hope by clinging on to his dreams, hope, and hopes. I realized I just said hope a bunch there. I'm sorry. Probably got really repetitive. And so ultimately, the reason why I want to make this video as a motivational Monday type video is to encourage you all to be more delusional. Be the best top creator out there. Aim to be the next Markiplier or Jacksepticeye. And if you don't want to be a creator, then aim for something equally as high. Aim to be a renowned author. Aim to be an artist that people will remember for years to come, like Van Gogh is the only one that's coming to mind right away, but I wasn't even thinking about him. Leonardo da Vinci. Aim to be the next Leonardo da Vinci or William Shakespeare. Whatever it is, dream big, and don't let anyone tell you shouldn't. Also, keychains. I want to sell keychains. No. I want to sell my art in general, and I have finally taken the first step toward that. I am so excited. As I'm recording this, they aren't here yet, but if they're here before I upload this video on Monday, I will definitely show you guys the physical version. If not, you'll just have to deal with the concept art that I got already. I'm turning some of my emotes into keychains, and it looks so. And the first one I'm getting looks so cute. They're so excited. So if you want them, I'm gonna start selling them for $10 a piece. I think $10 a piece will be a good price. After talking with some people in my circle or whatever, $10 a piece seems like it's gonna be a really good price, and I'm just really excited because they're really cute. And yeah, so keychains are coming. Let me know in the comments if you want one. I guess I buy my keychains. That's my delusional dream. My delusional dream is I want you to buy my keychains.